Hare Krishna. So Krishna is helping us to understand how to know the universal form and how to worship the universal form. So let's continue. We have seen two shlokas in this context. Now we'll see the third one, shloka number 18. Gatir bharta prabho sakshi nivasaha sharanam surit prabhavaha pralayah sthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam. So Krishna is saying, I am Gati, I am the goal. I am Bharta, the sustainer or maintainer. Prabhu, master. Sakshi, I am the witness. Nivasaha, I am the abode. Sharanam, I am the refuge. Suhrit, I am the most dear friend. Prabhavaha, I am the creation. Pralayah, I am the annihilation. Sthanam, I am the basis of everything. Nidhanam, I am the resting place. Bijam avyayam, I am the eternal seed. So let's see this in detail. Gati means destination or goal, where we want to go. But the ultimate goal is Krishna. Although people do not know it, one who does not know Krishna is misled, and his so-called progressive march is either partial or hallucinatory. There are many who make as their destination different demigods, and by rigid performance of strict respective methods, they reach different planets known as Chandraloka, Suryaloka, Indraloka, Maharloka, etc. But all such lokas or planets, being creations of Krishna, are simultaneously Krishna and not Krishna. Such planets, being manifestations of Krishna's energy, are also Krishna, but actually they serve only a step forward for realization of Krishna. So here basically we need to understand the ultimate goal of life is to attain Krishna this very lifetime. That is the ultimate goal. But then unfortunately what happens is we get deviated here and there. That's what is happening from many lifetimes. From many lifetimes we are just getting deviated. The road towards Krishna or the path towards Krishna is straight. We have to just run. Close our eyes and just run. And we'll reach the destination, that is Lord Sri Krishna. But the problem is, we get deviated here and there, again take a detour and finally come back to the same path. That's what we've been doing for many lifetimes. So progress on this path of Krishna consciousness is very little. Because we go one step and then we take a huge detour and finally come back. It's almost like taking only one step ahead, then another step, and so on and so forth. So at least now in this life, when we are studying Bhagavad Gita so deeply, we should have this full conviction that what is the goal of life? The goal of life is only one, and that is attaining Krishna this very lifetime. One thing is very clear. The human form that we have got is not for any other purpose except for doing devotional service and attaining Krishna this very lifetime. There is no other purpose. Whatever other things that we're doing in our day-to-day life, it's all about passing the time to maintain this body. But that is not the main goal, that is side business. The main business is to attain Krishna this very lifetime. And side business is taking care of this body and so on and so forth. But it's the other way around that people take it as. The main business in life, they take it as the material stability. And the side business is little bit of bhakti also we can do. So this point has to be very clear. As devotees, we have only one goal. Our goal is to attain Krishna this very lifetime, that is going back home, back to Godhead, and to serve Krishna for his pleasure there eternally. We don't belong to this place. We are foreigners here. We are aliens in this place. Our actual abode is there in Goloka Vrindavan. Our abode is actually at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. So when people get deviated here and there, especially in the Vedic times, they would be more interested to go to Swargaloka, Chandraloka and so on. They would do so much of sacrifice and many things. Obviously now people are more degraded. They don't do anything as such. But still, they are so materialistic. They want to enjoy so many things that is there around. But people before, they would plan their enjoyment for next life. They would plan that I'll go to Swargaloka and enjoy. I'll drink somras. I'll see the apsaras and others who are dancing there. I'll go to Chandraloka and do this. So they would do a lot of sacrifices given in the Vedic scriptures. So one thing is very clear, that destination is Krishna. There's nothing else apart from Krishna as destination or goal. But somehow due to the illusory potency of the Lord, because of our own ignorance, not having proper knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, the goal gets changed and Krishna is replaced by something else. And what does that mean? Successfully landing in this material world again. We are again back in the cycle of birth and death when we change the goal, when we remove Krishna and put something else. So here it is said, Gati is destination, and which is Krishna. To approach the different energies of Krishna is to approach Krishna indirectly. Now, this has to be very clear. See, whatever is there in this material world, even when it comes to worship of Devi Devtas, doing any activity, what is actually happening? So basically, what is actually happening is, we are approaching Krishna, but indirectly. Now, this is too unintelligent mood and attitude. If we can directly go to Krishna, why are we going to Krishna or approaching Krishna indirectly through something else? It's like in a building, say 100-floor building is there, and in that we have stairs, we have to go to 99th floor. So what will we do? We'll choose the staircase and go and climb till 99th floor. It's very clear. We'll take the elevator and go, and we'll reach quickly. Same thing. Why to go through the staircase and attain Krishna? Better we take the elevator and go fast. That is bhakti. Elevator is bhakti, where the person practices bhakti or devotional service for the pleasure of Krishna, to attain Krishna, and that is actually directly approaching Krishna. So when we're chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we're chanting this Mahamantra, what are we doing? We are directly approaching Krishna. When we're chanting any other mantra apart from this, we are indirectly approaching Krishna, which is not very, very intelligent. Everything is resting on Krishna's energy. Therefore, without Krishna's shelter, nothing can exist. And we have seen this, where Krishna himself says in 7th chapter, if I'm not wrong, the 7th shloka, where he says, Sutre mani gana eva, that everything in this world is resting on me like the pearls are resting on the thread. So if we remove the thread, what will happen? All the pearls will fall down. Similarly, if Krishna is not there as the shelter, everything will collapse. Nothing can exist. He is the shelter. He is the ultimate shelter. Krishna is the supreme ruler because everything belongs to him and everything exists on his energy. Krishna, being situated in everyone's heart, is the supreme witness. So this is also very clear that Krishna is the supreme proprietor, everything belongs to him, and everything should be used in his service because everything belongs to him. And Krishna is there as Paramatma in the heart. He does two important functions, Anumanta and Upadrishta. So as Upadrishta, he is the overseer, he keeps watching what we are doing and he is the witness. And Anumanta, he sanctions our desires based on our karma. So here Krishna is called as the witness. The residences, countries or planets on which we live are also Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate goal of shelter, and therefore one should take shelter of Krishna either for protection or for annihilation of his distress. And whenever we have to take protection, we should know that our protection must be a living force. Krishna is a supreme living entity. So every day when we are practicing bhakti, you know what we are doing? We are practicing to take shelter of Krishna every day. When we are practicing to take shelter of Krishna every day, what happens is in the critical situation also we will take shelter of Krishna. Now normally, say something happens in life, say we fall because some stone is there and we just fall. So what is the first word that comes to the mouth? Depending on language, Mummy, Amma, Papa or whatever, whosever shelter we have taken. And that thing has to change to Krishna. So when we fall, when anything happens, any bad happens or anything good happens, only word that comes from the mouth is Krishna. This is called as taking shelter of Krishna. So it's a practice that we're doing every day by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 16 rounds on the beats. This is a practice. And this practice of taking shelter of Krishna every single day will help us to take shelter of Krishna at the time of death. If we take shelter of Krishna at the time of death, our life is successful. Because we remember Krishna, we go back to Krishna. So it's a very important point that we need to understand that there is no other shelter in this world apart from Krishna. It's only Krishna who is our eternal shelter. And if we are taking shelter of anyone else apart from Krishna, we will actually get betrayed, because no one in this world is permanent. Everyone is temporary. It's only Krishna and Krishna's holy name which is actually the permanent thing that is there in this material world. So it's a very important thing to ask oneself, am I taking shelter of Krishna every day or not? If not, then I'm going to have tough time in the critical situations of life. And in that phase, the critical phase, I'll not be able to take shelter of Krishna. I'll just run around to take shelter of mortal beings of this world, and I'll be dejected at every single instance of taking shelter of material things and mortal beings. So here it is said, since Krishna is the source of our generation or Supreme Father, no one can be better friend than Krishna, nor can anyone be a better well-wisher. Krishna is the original source of creation and the ultimate rest after annihilation. Krishna is therefore the eternal cause of all causes. So Krishna is everything. This is the point that is made. So Krishna is our eternal friend. He is always there as Paramatma. He is always connected. There is no need of a separate friendship day, for Krishna and us to wish each other. Krishna is always there in the heart. He is always there as a friend, always there as a supporter, always there as an eternal, always there as a person having an eternal relationship with us. So this point is a very important point to understand and realize that Krishna is the only friend that we have. Only friend, only relative, only father, only mother. It's all Krishna. It's only Krishna and no one else. No one else can replace Krishna. How can someone replace Krishna? Impossible. And also it is said that he is the creation. When things create, it's on his energy. And when things get annihilated in this world, all the living entities take shelter of Krishna. So basically he is Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. So let's continue this discussion to understand what are the different things which Krishna is saying that I am this, I am this, I am this. So let's continue that in the next sloka, in the next video. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.